welcome back to Chapter 8, Keywords and Concepts. So as we learn about memory, we also need to learn about how weird and bad our memory can be sometimes. So when we're talking about new memories, we call that construction because we're literally creating something in our brain. The process of bringing up old memory is called reconstruction, and it's called reconstruction for a reason. Those memories don't seem to just exist all the time hanging out in our brain. Remember when I was talking about the engram and they were having a hard time finding it? It's probably because it doesn't all exist in the same spot. So when we go to bring up one of those old memories, we're actually reconstructing it out of various different lines of memories from the past. So it's quite interesting. Speaking of memory problems, suggestibility describes the effects of misinformation from external sources that leads to the creation of false memories. We are incredibly suggestible, guys. If we all went to the same event, literally, if all of us in class went to the same event, and then we all went home and started talking to each other about the things that happened in the event, what if I started telling you about a thing that didn't happen? But then everybody else started telling you about a thing that didn't happen. How quickly are you going to start to believe that that thing happened, whether you witnessed it or not, because everybody else said it's there? Yeah, that's suggestibility. Similar, but slightly different, we have the misinformation effect paradigm, and this states that after exposure to additional and possibly inaccurate information, a person may misremember the original event. This happens with eyewitness testimony all the time. If people talk to other eyewitnesses, they don't like it. There's a reason they want them to stay apart. How we describe things can even influence this. So if somebody witnessed a car accident and you start calling it something like the cars mashed together, they're going to perceive it as having been more violent of a crash than it was in the first place. So we're very suggestible, and it's very easy to add misinformation to our brains. So when we have all these problems with memory, it makes you wonder, well, then how do we learn anything? Well, we have to practice, right? So due to storage decay, the average person will lose about half of memorized information, 20 minutes or so after they've memorized it, and about 70% of the information after a full day without additional reinforcement. So that means if you study something today, tomorrow you're only going to have about 30% of it left if you don't do any kind of review between when you learn it and that end of that 24 hours. So we really do have to rehearse information in our brains repeatedly before it actually starts to stick. And that's why we tell you to study. I know it's really frustrating when we're right and the biology bears us out on occasion. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.